Hey, welcome back. On my way home tonight, and it's a little rainy, so just driving extra careful. And do you remember last week when I got on here with my stuffy nose and my watery eyes and my sneezes and said, don't worry, the COVID test was negative? Well, my COVID test was, but my dad's wasn't. And since I'm pretty sure he got it from us, I erred on the side of caution and didn't go to work for a few weeks, worked from home instead, and thus no videos. But glad to be back, and that's not what you're here to talk about, so let's just dive into what you are here to talk about, which is saving money. And ways to actually enjoy saving money, because I've got a few tricks up my sleeve when it comes to this. I have identified 3 money-saving methods, mentalities, that I see. And I have identified ways that they can help you and ways you can use them practically. And I've identified when they become harmful to you. So let's dive into each one of these mentalities first. And the first is a lose-lose mentality. Don't worry, my hands are free because I'm at a red light. If you are in a lose-lose mentality, this is what it looks like. It looks like you driving 30 minutes to save 10 cents a gallon on gas. It looks like you knowing all of the best deals at every single grocery store and going out of your way to each store to get the best prices for those groceries. Might only save you $5, but hey, $5, right? It looks like you having only one car instead of 2 because you can reason that your family can only use one car, even if it's inconvenient. Even if it's really inconvenient and takes a lot of time and extra effort, you can only use one car and therefore save gas and expense money on maintenance and all of that. So it just looks like you basically not enjoying your life, not using your money to make your life more convenient. And I'm not saying you won't enjoy your life at all. I'm just saying there are parts of your life in a lose-lose mentality that you won't enjoy because you are in survival mode. You're doing whatever it takes to get that money because that's what you feel you have to do. You don't know any other way, or you don't feel any other way is possible to you. And I know this because I've lived there. That is my default personality right there. That miserly mental state that says, cut back, and that's how you get what you want. What I found though is that there's a point where you can't cut back anymore, right? And then you just become stuck and it's a waiting game. And cutting back so far is not sustainable, first of all. And secondly, it harms those around you. I'm not saying you have to go out and spend money to have a good time with your friends, but when your decisions of cutting back affect others in your life, your husband or spouse or kids, then they start to resent you because of these decisions that you've made, right? I guarantee if you're a miser, your spouse probably isn't, because rarely do the two match up, right? We're usually attracted to opposite of ourselves. But if you're in a lose-lose mentality, it's not only you and the people around you that you're hurting, but in an economic standpoint, everybody loses as well. So you may not, you lose because you don't get to go on vacation, but the city loses, the city that you're vacationing to loses because you're not spending any of your tourist money there. Lose-lose. And I think this also sets you up. It just sets you up as survival mode, and you can't maintain survival mode for very long. If you think of it like your fight or flight response, you can't stay in that fight or flight response very long without having some pretty extreme effects on your body physically. And it's the same financially. There's just no way to stay in survival mode for years and years and years. You have to move on to something else, which brings us to the next one. The next mental way of thinking about saving is a win-lose, where obviously one party wins and one party loses. And you can look at this in several ways. Now, you could be the winner and you could be the loser. An example where you would be the winner is if you're not tipping the government with your tax money every year. If you're not overpaying taxes to the point where you get a large tax return. That's you winning and the government losing, right? It feels like the government has lost because you have outsmarted them. The other is not paying your student loans right now, because right now in January of 2022, they're on forbearance, and that has updated until May of this year, right? They've extended it yet again until May of this year, which I'm happy about because it frees up a lot of cash flow for me. But it feels like you're winning and the student loans, those big faceless corporations, are losing. And that feels good, right? An example where you are the loser, though, would be, and you could argue this both ways actually, it might be that you buy a house right now, and as of right now, housing prices are sky high where we are, and not going down yet. We all anticipate them going down soon, but they're not going down yet. And if you buy a house right now, you might think that you're the loser, and the economy, the housing market is the winner, because you have bought a house right before everything goes crashing down and the prices bottom out again. So that's a win-lose mentality. And I think it has its place, like each of these mentalities has their place, but it also has a destructive element to it. And that is, it sets you up to think in terms of comparison. Like, if there is a winner, there must also be a loser, right? And that's how our brains function. That's how we perceive the world. It's how we make sense of the world sometimes. We can't experience hot until we've known cold, or vice versa. And we can't experience happiness if we've never known sadness. And we can't experience light if we've never known dark. We compare things, and that's how we relate things to each other to make sense of the world. And in finances, this can be a little bit dangerous because there is no opposite a lot of times. The opposite of win might be lose, but just because you won doesn't mean somebody else has to lose somewhere in the world. There's not a finite number of wins out there. You could win, and the next person can win, and the next person could win. Which is a great segue into the third mentality, which is win-win. And this is the hardest one to understand, because just like I said, comparison is how we often make sense of the world around us. And we do think a lot of times that if we win, somebody else out there is losing in this moment. I've hit the lottery, so there's thousands and thousands of people out there who played the lottery that have lost at this point. But that's not how finances actually work. It might be how the lottery works, but it's not how finances work. Finances can have so many winners. We just have to learn how to think in a win-win mentality. Hang on a sec, there's a train. Excuse the train noises. But how do you start to think in a win-win mentality? Well, let me give you an example on how to save money using a win-win mentality. And that is when you start to use your hobbies as the ways to save money. I really enjoy gardening. It's a hobby that I've developed over the past couple of years, and I have really come to love it. And the way that I am making this a win-win situation for our finances is that I'm learning to grow some of the food that we eat, so we no longer have to buy it at the grocery store. So I might spend some time planting seeds, and that might replace the time I used to spend shopping around at every grocery store. Well, at the end of this, when I've invested that time in planting those seeds, I'm going to get a lot more tomatoes than I would shopping around for the cheapest tomato price at the grocery store. At the grocery store, I only bring home about 2 tomatoes, right? 1 or 2, however many our family needs. When I'm done planting, I get a whole plant full of tomatoes. To me, that seems like a bigger win. And I enjoy the process of doing it in the meantime. My husband's a chef. So lately we've been planning our meal and food prep on the weekends when he's home, so that he can use his chosen professional skills as an area of expertise and prep our food and cook our food better than I could have, more efficiently than I could have, and with fewer dishes, I should add, than I could have. and enjoy it at the same time. He can enjoy that aspect of our home life and be in charge of that. He likes cars. He can be in charge of the maintenance of our cars. He knows what he's talking about when he goes to the dealer. I have no clue about anything as far as cars are concerned. I like the way some of them look. I like the way some of them sound. But that's about the extent of it for me. I know what I like in a car to make it comfortable for me to drive in. And that's it. That's all I got. But that's his area of expertise. And what you begin to do is you begin to win. Everybody wins in these situations, right? So my husband, enjoys the time he spends maintaining the cars. He enjoys learning more about the cars. And he more cheaply can get us an oil change or do something himself and enjoy it. And the time invested is time well spent for him because he likes to do it. Same with me in gardening. I like to do it. That's the kind of thinking that is win-win thinking. Not only does it save you money, but you do something you enjoy. And it's getting away from the or statements that we need to do. We need to start thinking in terms of and that can be really hard. Instead of, I can either save money or go on vacation. We can start thinking, I can save money and I can go on vacation, right? That's a lot more positive, because instead of visions of you eating rice and beans for the next year to enjoy 1 week of your life on vacation, you start envisioning yourself enjoying the life that you have and going on vacation. And that's more of an abundant mindset. Thinking that there's not a finite piece. There is no comparison. There's no winner because there is no loser. Right? We all just enjoy and win. And when you start thinking in a win-win mentality, you start becoming in more of an abundant mindset, and you start seeing solutions to problems you couldn't solve before. And that's the real beauty of it. So I'm not saying that is the best method. I'm saying it is one of 3 methods. It is a good one, but there is a time and a place for each of these. And I'm almost home, so I'm going to make this quick. There are certain situations where lose-lose works. It just works. You just got to find the efficiencies and run your life like a business would and cut out the inefficiencies and make the efficiencies count. What I mean by that is, in a lose-lose situation, if you're going to use this to its fullest potential, what is it that is not important to you? For me, it is getting my hair and nails done, going to the spa, something like that. It's not that important to me to get my hair and nails done. I do it maybe once, twice a year, and that is it. And it's nice when I go. Would I do it more often if I had more money? Sure would. But it is not that important to me, so I don't do it all that often. And that's lose-lose, because if they don't get my business, I don't get to go get pampered. There is a time and place for a win-lose, like not tipping the government and not paying my student loans right now, or restructuring a loan so that you're paying in less interest. It feels like I win and they lose. You just got to know that in reality, you may feel like you outsmarted them, but it really has very little effect on that company, that big conglomerate company. It feels good, but there is a time and a place for it, and you're really not any smarter than the person. You're just using it as the tool as efficiently as possible, right? Just make that what you feel good about, is you're being the most efficient human that you can be using those tools. And then there's a place for the win-win mentality, like using your hobbies. I'm just pulling in, so excuse me. Like using your hobbies to save you money, and then outsourcing or trading for the things that you don't enjoy doing. I don't mow my lawn. As much as I love gardening, and I would mow my lawn, it's not worth the time to me. Because it might take me 2 hours to mow the lawn. Well, that's 2 hours I could spend enjoying time with my kids. I just don't have that kind of time on my hands right now. I've got 3 small kids. I've got a full-time job. We're all busy. So we all know what this is like. But yeah. So those are the 3 mentalities. And why is that important? Because when you start using your time to its fullest potential, you realize how much time you were wasting, and you realize that you can enjoy life a lot more. And that's really what it is all about. You're not putting a unfair load on the concept of money and thinking if I had more money, I might just be happier. Well, if you are more efficient with your time and the money that you have, then you can be happier now, right? I love that. I love that you can be happier now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.